What is up, you guys? Welcome back to the Hero Report. Welcome back to a brand new video where we talk all things Miami Heat basketball. In today's video, we're going to be talking about 10 free agents that the Miami Heat should really keep their eye on to sign in free agency this year. The format that I'd use for this video is a little bit different, so I'll explain it after I get all the the pleasantries out of the way. But yeah, before we get into it, make sure you guys leave a like, subscribe, comment down below. We are only 4 subscribers away from 750, which is really insane. And yeah, let's get to 800 as fast as we can, man. You guys have been showing love like crazy. I really appreciate it. And yeah, thank you guys for everything you guys are doing. Comment down below your video ideas as usual, and yeah, let's get right into it. So the format that I use for this video is going to be a little bit different than what you guys probably expected me to do. I did 2 players per position. So I have 2 point guards, 2 shooting guards, 2 small forwards, 2 power forwards, and 2 centers that I think the Miami Heat should look at for free agency. Now, obviously, with positions like small forward in particular, with Jimmy Butler being there, the players that I put are not all stars or anything like that, because it's not realistic to have to try to sign another star small forward when you already have one. So the 2 small forwards that I put are bench options. So I will be explaining all this as we go, but let's get right into it. The point guards. Now, this position is very up in the air. Obviously Goran Dragic and Kendrick Nunn are 2 main point guards on the team. Kendrick Nunn and Goran Dragic are both free agents as well, with Nunn being on a restricted free agent, and Goran Dragic having a team option of $17 million. Now, I assume we will decline Goran Dragic's $17 million team option and bring him back on a smaller deal, or use him in a sign and trade deal. Kendrick Nunn, I really think the percentage is high that he might be gone. I don't want him to go. I would love him to stay, but love for him to stay, but I think the Heat will be picking between Nunn and Robinson, and I would pick Robinson. I think the Heat would pick Robinson because he brings that shooting, and Nunn is really like a guy who he doesn't really stand out at one thing. He's very well rounded, but you need specialists on your team, and Robinson is a specialist. So I think that Nunn will probably be gone, and I think that Goran Dragic will either be coming back as a on a smaller deal, or he'll be used as a sign and trade piece. So the 2 free agent point guards that I have shortlisted down below. My first option is obviously Kyle Lowry. Now, Lowry is a guy that we've been trying to get since the trade deadline and before the trade deadline, and we've been rumored with him for a while. And he's not expressed interest that he wants to come here, but obviously with us being on his list of teams, he definitely likes us as a fit. So Kyle Lowry, I think, is a match made in heaven with the Heat, but the only thing about him is that his contract demands might be too high, and we might have to give up something for him in a sign and trade deal. So if we were to trade Goran Dragic and something else for Kyle Lowry in a sign and trade deal, I would not be upset. But we would have to, throw the Raptors some stuff if we want Lowry in a sign and trade deal. So Kyle Lowry is a guy, the number 1 guy of the point guard list that I have. I think he fits the team like a T. He's a very good defender. He does all the intangibles that don't get on the box score and the stat sheet. And yeah, I really do think he fits the culture, and I do think he's a really good player with probably 2 or 3 years left at what he's doing right now. I think after 3 years, he's probably gonna take a dip or a decline. I think right now, he's still a very good player, and I think that he should be a guy that we are looking at. The second guy is Spencer Dinwiddie. Now, Dinwiddie just declined his player option, which was, I'm pretty sure, $12 million with the Brooklyn Nets. He obviously wants a little bit more money. I would assume he probably wants like 15 to 20. Now, I really like Dinwiddie's game. I think he's a very underrated player. A lot of people don't really talk about him as an above average point guard, but I do think that Spencer Dinwiddie is up there. And I think the only thing about him that concerns me is that he's coming off an injury. Now, I don't know how he's going to perform off this injury. I don't know, if it's definitely going to take him some time to get used to playing basketball again, but it's a risk to take because he might not come back the same player. But I would be willing to take that risk because I think Dinwiddie is a very solid player. I think he's a very solid guy. that can be used as a backup or as a starter. So, there could be a world where we get Lowry and Dinwiddie, and we use one as a sixth man and we use one as a starter. But I think Dinwiddie is up there too, as a point guard option for this team. Shooting guards, there weren't really many star shooting guards on the market, so I went with Tim Hardaway Jr. as my number one option. Now, this is if Duncan Robinson leaves the team, I would assume that Tim Hardaway Jr. should be on the top of the Heat's list as far as shooting guards to sign. He is a very, very good shooter. He really made his mark in the Clippers series where he shot the lights out of the ball. But Heat fans have been knowing this for a while now. Not only is he Tim Hardaway Sr.'s son, but he lit us up for 36 points later in the season. Yeah, so we all know what Tim Hardaway can do, man. Tim Hardaway Jr. He's a great player. I think that he'll be a very good fit next to Jimmy and Bam. He provides spacing. Tim Hardaway Jr. is the number one shooting guard on my list. Number two, I have Norman Powell. Now, Powell is coming off a breakout year where he was averaging about 20 in Toronto, and then he took a little bit of dip when he went to Portland, because obviously he's playing with Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum, whereas in Toronto he was playing with guys who were in and out of the lineup. So he, I think, dipped to 17 or something like that in Portland, which is still really good. He's a very explosive shooting guard. He's a 3-level scorer. He's a good defender. He does everything that you want, and I think Powell is a very good player. The thing with Tim Hardaway Jr. and Norman Powell is that since they're coming off of really good seasons, I assume that teams are going to throw them a lot of money, and I think that they're going to want a lot of money. So it's going to be tough to get them. I wouldn't be surprised if someone threw Norman Powell and Tim Hardaway Jr. bags, but they're still very good options for the Heat to consider at the shooting guard position. Small forward, obviously we have Jimmy Butler, but these two are guys that are bench options. One of them we have been linked to before in the last month or so. But the first one that we're going to be talking about is Will Barton. Now, Will Barton is a guy who's a 3-and-D player. He plays for the Denver Nuggets right now, or he played for them last season, I should say. And I just think that he's a very underrated player. He has a player option of $14.7 million, which I think he might accept. But if he does decline it, I think that the Miami Heat would should snap him up really quick, because he's a very good bench option. He's a 13-point per game scorer off the bench, and there could be a situation where he's probably unhappy with his role, because there's a lot of wing players in Denver, and in Miami he'll probably only be playing behind Jimmy Butler. So as a backup small forward, I don't think this is a bad option, but it's all dependent on whether he declines his player option or not. The second guy is Kelly Oubre. Now, we've been linked to Kelly Oubre for I think the last month now. I said that Kelly Oubre is probably not a guy to go for as far as a starter, but coming off the bench, I would not mind Kelly Oubre, but his contract is the only thing that if it's like $15 million for a guy to come off the bench, like I'll pass on that. Like, Kelly Oubre is a good player, but I don't think we should be paying him as much money as he thinks he should make. So I think him probably like around 12-13 million. I think I wouldn't mind that, but 15 to 18, like, that's a lot of money for him. So I just think that he could be a really good option off the bench to provide energy, to provide defense, athleticism, versatility. He's just a great two-way player, but I just don't think that we're going to be able to sign him because he's going to want a lot of money. But I just put him on here just because there weren't really many small forwards that made sense for this team. Power forward, we have John Collins. Now, John Collins is on the way to the Eastern Conference Finals. He's a restricted free agent. He's probably going to be wanting a lot of money, which is why I don't think we can do this deal. But he is one of the players that I really like. He is probably on the top 5 list of players that I want on the Heat right now who make sense. He can space the floor really well. He's a 40% 3-point shooter. He's a very great compliment towards Bam. Like, that's why I really want him on the team. He does everything that Bam cannot do. Like, Bam is not like a floor spacer. You have John Collins who can space the floor, and then you have Bam who can be that, inside presence. You have John Collins who can be the outside presence. He's a very athletic player as well. So I think that he's a very talented player in this league, man. I think he's a guy who, you know, someone will throw him a bag, and I don't think it's going to be us because he's going to want a lot of money. I would pay him anywhere, 20 to 23 is probably in the range that I'd pay him. 25, I wouldn't mind it, but like it would be not ideal. And then above 25, I would not pay him that. I need that at all. But I think he's going to want the max. If he does not, though, if he likes Miami as a fit, I saw a video where he was like, if I wasn't playing for the Hawks, I would love to play for the Heat or something like that. I don't know if it was a joke, but I saw a video on YouTube. Hey, man, John Collins, if you want to take a little bit of a pay cut to come play in Miami, you're always welcome here. So I think John Collins is a guy that we should really, really, think about, and we should really, really go after, if we can. The second power forward is Lauri Markkanen. He's another guy who's restricted. The Bulls have already shown interest in shopping him and getting rid of him at the deadline, and I just don't think that the Bulls are in love with him. So I think that there could be a situation where we try to get Lauri Markkanen, but I think he's another guy that fits next to Med because he's a floor spacer. The only thing that concerns me is his defense. He's atrocious defensively, but I just think that offensively he fits really well next to Bam. So I think Lauri Markkanen, he's a 14 point per game scorer, and yeah, man, I think that Lauri Markkanen, his value is not as high because he's regressed from his first season as far as his game has been concerned. He relies on his 3-ball too much, but I just think that Miami can get him right, and I think that if there's a place that can revive a player's career and turn it around, I think Miami could be that. So Lauri Markkanen, I think, would be a great fit on this team, but it's just the contract, injuries, a bunch of other stuff that make me skeptical about him coming here. But off his talent alone, he'll be a great fit to this team. Center position, we have two again. Richaun Holmes is the first one. I think that he's one of my favorite centers in this league. So underrated, man. Plays for the Kings in Sacramento. He was making $5 million, but he's probably going to be making double digits now. Like he is a very, very, very good player, man. And I just think that high energy players are guys that you really, really love on your team. Whether he comes off the bench on the Heat or whether he starts on the Heat, I don't know. Like, I would love him to start, but obviously we would have to have Bam develop a shot. Now, center, like the centers that I'm naming like Richaun Holmes especially, this is assuming that Bam moves to the power forward, or you can also play Richaun Holmes a power forward. So that should be fine. It's just the fact that both of them are non-floor spacers. So if we sign Richaun Holmes, Spo might think that's probably a better idea for him to come off the bench. So, but I still think that Richaun Holmes is an amazing player in this league. He has great potential. I know he's already 27, so he's older, but I just see his game growing by the year, man. I think that Richaun Holmes is, I love Richaun Holmes. So I think that he would be a great player for this team. And then second of all, I have Bobby Portis for my second center. I was debating between him and Ibaka, but Ibaka did not really shoot the ball well this year. Bobby Portis was, I'm pretty sure, the second highest three-point shooting player in the NBA this year. I would think he was second in three-point percentage behind Joe Harris. And I think that he would be a great backup option. Now, this is obviously assuming we don't bring Dwayne Dedmon back. If we bring Dedmon back, there's no need for Bobby Portis on this team. But if we do not bring Dedmon back, Bobby Portis is a guy that we should definitely look at. He can space the floor. He can protect the rim. He does everything that he needs to do. He's an energy guy off the bench. Now, other players that I considered, Lonzo Ball at the point guard position, I considered, man, I love Lonzo Ball's defensive presence, his two-way presence, but I just think he's going to want a lot of money. So that was him at the point guard position that I really considered. DeMar DeRozan was a name, but I just don't really see how he's fitting our team because he's not a guy who you're going to ask to come off the bench, and in the starting lineup, where is he going to play? So he's another guy that I saw as far as, one of the better free agents this year. And there were some other players like Dennis Schroeder and Mike Conley and guys like Evan Fournier, Derrick Rose, other people that I considered, Mitchell Robinson, Lou Williams, Montrezl Harrell. But I settled on these players so far. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, man. Let me know what you guys think about my 10 free agents that the Miami Heat should open their eyes to and consider. I do think we'll sign at least one of these guys. That's my prediction. We'll be signing one of these players in free agency. Who it is, I do not know, but I think one of these players will be on the Heat next year. So stay tuned for who you think it will be. And like I said, man, we took a little bit of a break, a 2-day break, but we're back on the grind. So make sure you guys hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, comment down below everything you guys want to talk about as far as Heat basketball, questions, video ideas, whatever, man. I'm here for it in the comment section. So please, use the comment section and comment down below. I'll see you guys later as always, man. Peace.